Om Shanti, Om Shanti, Om Shanti. Good evening to everyone, and a very warm and hearty welcome to this refreshing, recharging, motivating, enlightening Sunday evening talk. Because this talk is like a soup for the soul, or we can say food for the soul for the whole week. So let's fill this evening with the invoking blessings of the Almighty Authority, and we are hosting this program from one of the largest retreat centers of South India, Shanti Sarovar, Hyderabad, and it's an overwhelming experience to be with you all in this evening again with a new topic and with a new orator. So let's come to our today's topic. Today's topic, actually, nowadays we are getting a lot of informations regarding spirituality from various means. We are keep on listening, we are keep on watching, we are keep on reading about spirituality. But listening to spirituality, it's understanding its power. Listening to spirituality is understanding its power, but to inculcate spirituality, or we can say to apply spirituality in a day-to-day life, it's like becoming a source of power. So we can say listening to spirituality is it's understanding its power, but applying spirituality, it's become like a source of power. So do you want to become like a source of power, or you just want to keep on watching or listening or reading? Definitely everyone wants to become like a source of power. So today we have a very relevant topic regarding this, and our today's topic is being spiritual. Being spiritual, the need of the hour. Being spiritual, the need of the hour. Because nowadays lockdown is going on. Actually, in lockdown we can't go outside, but it's a wonderful opportunity for going inside. So for this relevant topic, we have insightful orator from Dubai. So we all are so delighted to welcome. We all are delighted to welcome our sister Jyotika from Dubai. So welcome Didi ji. So welcome to Shanti Sarovar and Om Shanti. Good evening Didi.
Good evening. Om Shanti.
And greetings to the whole divine family of Dubai also.
Thank you.
So I would like to introduce Sister Jyotika, a brief introduction of Sister Jyotika. Actually, Didi has been inclined toward meditation, towards spirituality since her early age, and she is practicing this meditation, or we can say she is rendering her tireless services to this organization from since 27 years. And she studied journalism, and at present she is coordinating all the activities of Rajoga Center of Dubai, and she is coordinating all the outreach events in center. So, and one of the most interesting thing about Didi is she enjoys meeting with people from various background. So we will welcome Didi, and it's a very utter joy, or we can say we all are very fortunate that we are going to listen from our Didi, or we can say from a great speaker. So, dear brothers and sisters, be in this moment, be in this hour, and let's upgrade ourselves with the insightful knowledge from Sister Jyotika. So, over to Didi ji, over to Sister Jyotika.
Om Shanti. Good evening. And many greetings to all peaceful beings gathered here. And many thanks, dear sister, for introducing me. I have been associated with Raj Yoga meditation since 25 plus years. And yes, it has been a very lovely journey, an enlightening journey for me. And many thanks for giving me the opportunity to share some of my realizations on the topic today, being spiritual. and I feel that this is the need of the hour. I invite all of you for a silent reflection to begin with. Just sit straight wherever you are. If you can choose a seat, or if you are moving around, you can choose to be stand still for a few minutes. Relax the whole body. Just release any tension, any tightness that might be in the physical body. You can rest your eyes on any point in front of you, maybe the camera of your device, the light next to the camera, or anything. As I relax the whole body and let go of any tightness from not only the body but also from the mind. Consciously bring your thoughts to the present. I'm no more pulled by the past. I'm not in the future worried, but just enjoying the silent moments with myself. I start enjoying being with myself. I'm busy now looking at myself. I feel I'm more aware of my inner being. Thank you. Starting any task with few moments of silence is one of the best spiritual practices. It can be any task, any action that we might have to perform. But if I can come back to the present and start from that angle, we feel that the success achieved is more. We will be more focused on the action to be done at that time. And thank you for being with me in this silent journey. We do face many challenges in life, and I don't want to call them problems, rather challenges, because we learn many things from them. So we might be facing some situations, some challenges, or might be experiencing some shortcoming in our lives. If we don't feel them in our lives, we see them around us many times. Some of us have been very lucky to have minimum personal challenges, but we do see the challenges that the world is facing, that others around me are facing. And whenever such scenes are seen, we usually ask the questions to our own selves: why all these things are happening? Where have I gone wrong? Or where we have gone wrong? Is there any missing link? What can I do to solve the challenges in the world? Or how can I actually do something to resolve sorrow in the world. Is there any panacea to solve the sorrow and the suffering and the pain that we see around us? In fact, these questions keep coming in our head, and many times we do focus on and want to get the answers for such questions. Or sometimes we may just shrug it off, thinking that it is not yet the right time, or whenever the right time comes, I will definitely get the answers, or something, or something. We see that we have been progressing in many areas of life. We have done research and development. There has been innovation on various levels, on various areas concerning our human life. It can be medicine, it can be science and technology, politics, religion, business, industry, management. There has been innovation in so many areas. And whenever the research and development has taken place, we see that the main focus was to address the then situation that the world was facing. And we have been able to increase the standard of our life, increase the quality of the human life using these innovations, these research and development processes. Nowadays, we keep hearing one word. I think we keep hearing this word many times throughout the day, and that is the word called mutation, wherein this applies to DNA specifically. But the meaning of mutation can be applied to the challenges that we face in our life as well. We see that the research and development takes place, and there are so many inventions, but all of a sudden, the very nature of the challenge changes. Being in the Raj Yoga Center and meeting many souls from around the corner, I see that we try to solve one challenge and the other challenge comes by the time the first one is solved. The very nature of that challenge changes, and then I have to start thinking about the new challenge from the beginning, from the scratch again. Wherein from my childhood, the spirituality was always in my head as a way out. But then as I progressed on this path, I realized that spirituality is not only able to answer my own personal questions arising in my life, but also spirituality, if practiced collectively, if every individual follows it and lives by the basic spirituality, I was convinced that that can actually solve many issues, and it is absolutely possible to bring about peace, contentment, health, and wealth for every human being. That has been my realization over a period of time as I started progressing on this path. Being is a word, and there are many suffixes along with it. We can say, we usually say being an engineer, being a doctor, being a mother, being a friend, being a businessman, etc. etc. But in all these words, whenever we use these phrases, actually the meaning of that being changes. It is more or less related to the actions that I need to perform. It depends on or it relates to my performance. I perform certain action, then I am that, being an engineer, a doctor, a manager, etc. etc. However, the very word being actually relates to our own existence, our own identity, what I am and who I am. It has nothing to do with what I do later on. Because if you see, for example, being a manager or being mm, a doctor, whatever, at particular time, in particular area, in particular place, I'll be doing such actions. And outside that work area, I'm not that always. At other times, I might be a member in the family, I might be a friend to someone or an activist in the society, etc. etc. So, being actually has now turned into doing. And I think this is where the problem has actually started. So, being spiritual, what does it mean actually? So, there are three things we understand in spirituality. There are three main points which the spirituality tries to answer our questions. In fact, these are the very quest we have whenever we deal with spirituality. The first is, who am I? Definitely, this body is visible to this naked eye, but is there any other part of myself which I still need to be aware of and realize that is it so? So, who am I? And secondly, to whom I belong. Is there a creator? Is there a supreme being? And if there is, then what is the relationship? And is there any need to forge any connection with the supreme? And thirdly, I think many of us had this question many times in our life. What's the purpose of my life? What is the purpose of the living, my living on this planet? So, spirituality answers these three very interesting questions. And in fact, we become spiritually aware. We become aware of the answers of these three. And then we allow the spiritual values to color, to influence our thoughts, words, and actions. We start thinking, speaking, and interacting with others based on these spiritual values. And that is, in fact, being spiritual. So, what are the answers basically? Many of us might already know, but yet, this is the essence of spirituality. And hence, I would definitely like to answer so that we then focus on other areas. First of all, who am I? The answer is very simple. We have heard this word consciousness or soul many times, and spirituality says that I am a soul, a consciousness, which is moving and operating this physical body. In fact, the word soul has been used many times, but perhaps we were not aware until now that I am a soul. We have always heard that there is a soul and this is the physical body. But then the reality is that I am the soul in this physical body. And this consciousness is pure, is peace, is loving, and is happy. So, this is the answer to the first question, the first quest. And secondly, the Supreme is also a point of light and the source of all virtues and powers. In fact, just as we see the connection between the seed and the leaves in a tree, similarly, the connection is between the soul and the supreme being. In fact, the leaf belongs to the seed, and leaves also belong to each other. Similarly, we all belong to the supreme, But on the other hand, we all also belong to each other. And we both have the different existence. Though we belong to each other, but we do have our own identity. And we don't become one and lose our identity or existence. And this Supreme is, in fact, the source of all powers, all virtues that we need in our day to day action while coming in interaction with others, while facing challenges. So, the first thing, who am I? I am the consciousness. I'm not only the energy, but also I am the energy which is the sum total of the thoughts, the decision making, as well as storing the things of the past events. So, hence the word consciousness is actually very, very apt for the self and then the supreme being. So, when I understand the first question, then I'll be able to also answer the third question, that I am here on this planet. My the purpose of my living on this planet is first of all to experience the inner qualities, and secondly to share those inner qualities, to share that experience with others, to share those values with others. So these are the three things that the spirituality focuses on. So we become that, we keep these concepts in our mind, we reflect on that, and then we allow these spiritual values while performing the actions. We earlier heard being an engineer, being a doctor, being a mother, etc., wherein in those knowledge we actually acquire some knowledge, we excel in that area and then become that and then start being that. But here, when I say being spiritual, in fact, I become aware of myself as a spiritual being. So I'm not acquiring this knowledge of something which I am not, but actually I am that which I might have forgotten. And I might have complicated myself in many areas where the illusions have come up. But now I again become aware of my real self. So it is as though I am recalling back. I'm recalling the original self, the memories of my original self. But what will be the benefits if I am being a spiritual person? Nowadays, we think of benefit in every area, isn't it? So, what will be the benefit if I am being a spiritual person? Well, I have practically experienced and I have realized that being spiritual actually enhances my creativity, my productivity. In everyday life, there needs to be some productivity and creativity. Otherwise, the life might become boring. So I'll be able to, in fact, become that creative thing. I will come up with newness every day. And secondly, I think we all need, and that is the mastery over the self. I'll be able to master my own self. And since we have already understood that we are all the sum total of our thinking ability, our decision making ability, as well as we store the past events within us, the memories of that. So I now start becoming the master over my own self. I have seen that many times we say some words and then we want to take them back. You say sorry, it was a slip of tongue. I speak first and then realize that it was not right. Maybe I watched something and then I feel that it's not right. So this all tells us that I am slave of my own cultivated habits. And many a times we remember something from the past, but after living in that past, I say, well, I don't want to remember this painful incident. But spirituality, practicing and being that, enables me to be the master over my own self, where I have the control over myself of what to speak, what to think inside, and what to remember and what to forget, and what to learn and what to unlearn. So I become the master over my own self. And then another realization which I have, and I give full credit to spirituality, and that is that I gain and attain clarity. The confusion will go away, and I'll be clear and very much focused on what I should do, how I should do, and when should I do certain things. We nowadays understand that there is no lack in information. The sister also was telling that we have all the information, and nowadays it is just on our palms. The information of the whole world is on our palm. But then, when you are exposed to so many things, then there is a chance that you might get confused what to do. But being spiritual allows me to understand myself, and hence that confusion goes away. I attain the level of clarity that I need to move forward in my life. Two things that I would like to discuss here, and that is what would be my inner state of being if I'm spiritual, and what would be the external state when I am being spiritual. How can I actually say I'm spiritual or not? Or what I will enjoy in my inner being. So we all have the face which the world looks at us, but in fact, the inner world is totally different. There might be 100 things going on there, perhaps 1,000 things going on there, and still we might be able to have something externally. But again, spirituality makes us equal, clean and clear internally and externally. In fact, if I'm spiritual, I would be very curious to know and understand what is happening in my inner world. Just as how we are curious to know what is happening in the world out there, similarly, I'll be very curious to know what's happening within me, from where the thoughts are coming. Are these thoughts connected to some present situation or the situation in the past? And when some situations come in front of me, how do I react to that? What is my emotional response to a particular person or a particular situation? So, all these are actually happening within me. So, I'll be more curious to understand and become aware of what is happening within me. And secondly, I'll be more aware, or rather, it would be firm in my mind that I cannot control the things externally, happening externally. I cannot change the things that are happening externally in my outer world. The one thing which I have control over and the one thing which I can change is the inner responses, the inner perception that is happening. what I am thinking, how I am actually perceiving the things, my outlook inside, that I can change. And and it is not only possible, but I am also responsible to change that. And ultimately, I understand that the inner being many times is very strong than the external happenings. I have many experiences of interacting with many people who have shared such experiences, how the situations come and how they were able to respond to it. The situations came, but the way I responded to that was actually my choice. So I have that possibility definitely. And then I think it is the third point that there will be a natural state of contentment. And this contentment is not because all the things are happening right around me, but rather the contentment comes by knowing and understanding my real self. I'm not allowing the external upheavals affect my inner being, and hence there is a natural state of contentment. And whatever my response will be based on that contentment. So when I'm contented inside, I'm happy inside. Rather than happiness, the word I would definitely want to use is the word contentment, santushtata. So when I'm contented from inside, definitely I'll be able to deal accordingly, very productively from that vantage point. So this would be the internal state of being. But what would I see myself as externally? There will be a natural state of respect for everyone. Spirituality not only asks me or teaches me to be respectful to myself, that is the first part anyway, to understand myself and to be that is the real justice that I do to myself. So, definitely, there is that state of respecting myself. So, I'll be respectful to myself, but also on the other hand, there will be very naturally respect towards each and every being around me. I will not be sarcastic. I will not be any derogative about them. I will not condemn them, but there will be a natural state of respect. And this is not only just for the human beings, but in fact for the nature as well. In fact, for all the creatures, there is that respect from within. And then another thing which we see externally is that spiritual beings respond to the situation. They will not react to the situation, but they will respond to any situation. Many times it so happens that, that impulsions inside are so strong that we might react, but actually we respond to the situation and not really react. And thereby the situation that we have around us can be taken control of and then try to resolve whatever is in front of me. And then we will be positive in our thoughts, words, and actions. This is something which we all are aware of. Do I focus on the problem or do I focus on the solution? Many times we think about the problem so much that we often miss churning on the other side of it. I actually need the solution. The problem is already in front of me. I need not think much more about it, but in fact, I need the solution for that. So we'll be more positive and thinking about the solutions when we are spiritual. There are some best practices of being spiritual, and this we can note down. Maybe these things are practical. And first of all, the best practice is to be to have silence, to enjoy silence, inner reflection, and study. These three things I always have adored doing that, and hence I'm sharing silence, inner reflection, and study. In fact, we start enjoying the company with our own selves as much as we enjoy being with others. Spirituality doesn't ask me to be aloof, be separate from everyone, and sit in a corner, but definitely take some time out. It can be just a minute, not actually half an hour or 1 hour or 6 hours, but few moments. Enjoy being with your own self. Believe me, you will be very, very happy doing so. We enjoy being in others' company, company of our loved ones especially, and now we start enjoying being with our own selves. And also inner reflection. I'll start enjoying the scenes that are happening in the inner television, the scenes of the thoughts, the feelings arising out of those thoughts, and my responses to particular person or situation, or how the responses from inside, the emotional responses. I'll be curious and I'll be entertaining myself watching those scenes, rather than just watching the scenes on the television. And many a times those scenes are not relevant to my life. I'll just be watching them. And secondly, the second practice, in fact, the first thing, nowadays it is lockdown in India, and we are all constrained to our own houses. And as the sister mentioned earlier, we can't go outside, but we can definitely go inside. And I loved this phrase, and I would definitely want to stress on this. During the lockdown, every country in the world had lockdown. 14 months back, 15 months back, we might not have had thought, but everything was so constrained after that. But I have seen that some people really enjoyed being in lockdown. I'm not talking about the sufferings, the suffering part of that. Definitely, we all have to collectively do something, with the positive thoughts created in our mind, and we are sensitive towards that. But then, what as an individual I can do during such situation? Should I get frustrated that I'm in lockdown? Should I make myself uncomfortable and start feeling uneasy and blaming others, blaming the external situation during the lockdown? But some of us I have seen were really able to make the most out of the lockdown. I think many of us loved being with our families members, something which we hadn't done. It wasn't possible earlier, but we enjoyed being with our family members. Or maybe we did something which always was our desire, which was always spending, which we loved doing it, maybe gardening skills, maybe writing or reading books, or listening to something or studying something. So, literally, it is up to my choice how I deal with my inner world. And secondly, be innovative in adopting the spiritual concepts in day to day life. This can be another best practice of being spiritual. For example, when it comes to the identity of the self, that I, the consciousness, I'm a soul, and this body, the very wonderful instrument, the mechanism that the nature has gifted us, is like a car and I am the driver in it. So enjoy this analogy, the link between the seed and the leaves. So see where you all can bring that spiritual concept in our day-to-day life. Whenever I sit in the car, I usually think, how I adjust the mirrors, the side mirrors, the rear view mirror, and make sure that I'm seated comfortably on the chair, on the seat. Similarly, I need to set myself every day, mm, if possible, in the morning, and then start driving. That is, then start playing or performing my actions. So I need to set myself, who am I and what I am here to do. So apply spiritual concepts in day-to-day life. And thirdly, something which I enjoy doing it, and I have been off late enjoying this very much, and that is conscious creation of blessings, good wishes for others. It can be anyone coming in front of me throughout the day, or it can be those with whom I live, but consciously create a good wish for them. May this one be peaceful, may this one be loving, may this one be healthy and happy, may this one's pure desires get fulfilled. So create a good wish for each and every individual coming in front of me. And this I feel also not just being spiritual, but also this a kind of service. And believe me, we will be able to share lot of positivity by doing so. This has been my experience. So we now understood there is a difference between being all the rest we discussed earlier and being spiritual. In fact, being spiritual is my real self. People think that, well, we are human beings and we want to have some spiritual experiences. But in fact, spirituality says that you are a spiritual being and you are going through certain human experiences. So I become a spiritual being, then it will be like a spiritual being working as an engineer, as a doctor, as a manager, as a politician, a president, or maybe an industrialist or whatever. So we are spiritual beings. A human being can err. There can be errors, but spiritual being will be aware. This is something which has been very beneficial for me. If I consider myself as human being, well, very ironically, we have to remember this thing also nowadays, being human. But on the other hand, I can be lenient and say that, well, a human being errs, but actually a spiritual being will be aware. A spiritual being will, in fact, think any situation from three different angles. We understand the past, present, and future implications and then perform an action. So, what can be the action plan now? After hearing all this, I need to implement something in my life. Many of you might already been doing it, but still, one very simple practice. Three things which I would like to share. The first one is the first hour in the day for yourself. And in this 1 hour, it is not that you should not do any activity. You can. It is not that I have to sit in one corner in my room and be silent, don't talk to anyone. No. But don't allow the external news to influence you at that time. Focus completely on what is happening inside you. In fact, we many times I have seen that we expose ourselves to some world news, maybe social media, or so many things we are exposed to nowadays. But then, first 1 hour of the day, at least, for my own self. In that, maybe 15, 20 minutes, we can sit in silence. But then, while doing rest all the activities, focused inwards. Spirituality is actually realities, practicality. It doesn't, it is not just in books or it is not just a theory. It can be lived, it can be practiced. And when we have already the responsibility in our lives, spirituality doesn't ask us to let go of that responsibility and sit aloof. No. But while doing activities, I'm focused inwards. I'm not allowing the external news at that time to come inside and influence me. And secondly, throughout the day, while performing the actions, while dealing with many responsibilities, delegating responsibilities, that is one of the things. And nowadays, it is really the time of multitasking. While doing all those actions, I need to give 1 minute every hour for my own self. Just 1 minute. And see the implication of this 1 minute of inner reflection on the rest 59 minutes of the day, of the hour. So, reflecting on the self for 1 minute every hour. If possible, on the hour, because this is a system that we have cultivated and many people around the world are already doing it. So, 1 minute every hour. And then, thirdly, again, last 1 hour of the day for my own self. Start withdrawing from being in the external world, meaning that I start withdrawing, being exposed to them, and then again consciously focus on my own self. Again, no devices, no gadgets used at that time, no social media, and you will see, in fact, you will thank your own self for cultivating such a habit. I think creating such disciplines are very important, especially when we are in lockdown, because earlier we had certain actions to be performed and we allotted time, we created a timetable for ourselves. But in lockdown, we have 100 things in front of us and we often keep doing things. But create a timetable and again, last hour of the day for the self. So we will be spiritual beings at at your work field, at your family area, family side, or maybe in the social arena. Of course, wherever this is not applicable now, you will be that. Or once it is applicable to you, then it will be possible. I would like to again stress on one thing, that being spiritual is not claiming that I'm eliminating the effect of my past negative actions. It is not that what all I have done in the past, the negative, if at all, then that will be eliminated. In fact, when that past negative comes in the present, when it surfaces in the present, then I'll be able to deal with that with elegance, with royalty, with understanding and awareness. And hence, I am making my future happy and contented once again. And this way, the cycle changes. because every past is surfacing in the present, and every present is becoming the future, and then the future becomes the present and then becomes the past. But I need to bring about some change. If I'm unhappy with any of that, where should I change? So I can change at the present moment, the present response to the situation. And it can be something from the past surfacing in the present. So no matter how severe the issue is, but it can be dealt with elegantly in the present moment. One very interesting question that arises is, well, can I bring about any change when I am being spiritual? What difference can I bring if I alone am spiritual? I'm not sure if you have heard the story of. It's not just a story; it's actually a research done. 100 monkey principle. It was, I think, in 1950s, as much as I remember it, wherein a group of monkeys were studied in one of the islands in Japan, and the researchers actually threw some sweet potatoes on the ground for the monkeys to eat. And this was an island. So monkeys would pick up the sweet potato and eat it. And one young monkey once picked up this sweet potato, washed in the water in the nearby lake. And when that monkey ate the sweet potato, it tasted better. And very soon, this whole group of monkey on that particular island started rinsing the sweet potato from the water before eating, and it started tasting them better. And something which unbelievable happened, that there was a group of other monkeys which were also being studied in another island, and this same habit started being seen there also. The monkeys there, one after other, started rinsing their sweet potato before having it. And these monkeys, these two group of monkeys were separated geographically. They both were on different islands, separated by water, but yet this was seen. This result was seen. So there is something called as collective consciousness. When this collective consciousness is practiced, when it comes into our life path, then we see that not just one person, but that one person not only inspires by performing an act, but actually that one person's consciousness influences everyone. So this is the one of very interesting research that was done, and that actually inspired me so much, that let us not just think that I am alone and what I'm going to make difference, but actually I will be able to make difference, and let me bring about that change. So this is really the high time that we adopt spirituality and remove all the layers, if negative, from within us. But spirituality is really not just removing negativity, but it is actually enjoying the original self. Be contented about knowing the self and enjoy being my real self. And many thanks for being patiently listening to this. And yeah, that's it. Thank you for giving your time.
Thank you, thank you so much, Didi ji. And And sincere thanks and gratitude on behalf of all the participants and Hyderabad the family for such a inspiring and motivating session. And it was very clear, it was very simple but thought provoking and motivating. And if anybody want to ask any question, you can ask from Didi. You can unmute yourself or you can type in chat box. So if you have any question, we can ask from Didi ji.
Yeah, Sister Jyotika, Om Shanti.
Shanti brother.
Yeah, sister, it's really nice. It's really my pleasure, I would say, having chance of listening your divine words. Yeah, yeah, I really got many points, and I think I really have to work on what all you said. But one thing that I would like to have clarification on is that, yeah, I have been trying to at least follow this Brahma Kumari's wisdom and all. While progressing on my journey, it's becoming difficult for me, spare time, morning, first hour, and particularly this last 1 hour is like becoming very difficult to spare, and you know, because actually my profession is IT, so I don't know when my office work will end. So in that context, it's becoming difficult to spare time before winding up my day and start reflecting on. Yeah, apart from that, I do have also difficulties of taking passes hourly, and yeah, all those things are there. But yeah, my request to you is that how can, were there any tips for me to actually able to you know implement them as it is, so that my journey would be easier.
Well, in your case, brother, since you are in a very different field of your profession, where timing, scheduling is a big question, at that time you can see for yourself what you would like to do, where all you can fit in at least one of those practices, if not all, and think where you can start. Like, if not possible for you to wind up in the night, because maybe you might not have the night as we all have, but then try to see, because I have seen many IT spiritual beings adjusting their timings, because you have your own time to wake up, you have your own time to sleep, because you are working with other country, with employees of other time zone. So in that case, you can see where you can fit in. I have seen that the reminders are definitely possible every hour, or maybe just 1 minute every now and then. You can start with focusing on yourself when you have a glass of water, a cup of tea to start with. And then gradually separate that 1 minute of silence or inner reflection from the cup of tea. But start with when you are having a sip. With that one practice, you can start. I once saw the mobile buzzing in one of our centers, and I didn't see the owner in the beginning, but then I thought it's again and again ringing. It was actually a reminder, and the sentence flashing there was, I am a peaceful being. I am a peaceful being. So that person, the owner of that mobile, had this every hour flashing on the mobile. So they are reminded of their inner being at that time. So see where you can fit it as per your day-to-day schedule.
Thank you, sister. I try my best.
Thank you so much, Didi ji. And I think participants are also saying thanks, Didi, because the session was really
It's my
wonderful.
honor to be with all of you. It's my really my privilege to be with all of you, and thank you very much for giving me an opportunity to share my experiences. Maybe we can end with a few moments of silent reflection.
Yes, Didi ji.
I invite all of you to sit relaxedly I understand you are already sitting relaxedly, but you might want to keep your back straight. Rest both the feet on the ground if you are sitting on a chair, and loosen your neck and shoulder. And as you become aware of your posture, you also will understand that you are more relaxed now. While keeping eyes rested on any point, concentrate all your thoughts in the center of the forehead. One simple thought about my own identity. I am a spiritual being, a consciousness, a soul, a tiny point of light, a star-like entity in the center of the forehead. I am the life energy, the source of life, performing actions through this physical body. I am the master. Inherently, I am peaceful, loving, a serene and a pure being. I allow these virtues to reach every particle in this physical body and in the nature in the form of vibrations. I create a conscious belief in my own thoughts, the power of my thoughts, that they reach my loved ones. I take up a determined thought today to keep bringing back the awareness of my real self. Om Shanti.
Om Shanti Didi. Actually, one more question is there. Do we require to close our eyes while meditating? If not, why?
This is the most asked question,
Yeah.
rather frequently asked question whenever the Raj Yoga meditation is learned. In fact, Raj Yoga meditation says that meditation means not being passive, but actually being very active and aware. So when I close my eyes, I might go passive, and hence it is always recommended, and it is the practice, that we keep our eyes open, but our attention is not on our eyes. Our attention is on the quality of our thoughts, not really whether the eyes are closed or not. And since I am active, looking at my inner world, I will have my eyes open, but yet my mind will be very, very focused.
Didi, one more participant is there, and please unmute yourself, brother. Yeah, please ask, brother. Brother, please unmute yourself. Please unmute yourself. Yeah, now you can speak, brother. Yeah,
Yeah.
please.
Om Shanti Didi. I have a question. Uh, what is the role of Supreme God in this pandemic time? Uh, so, uh, why the pandemic time came and why the so many children of him are pushed into this difficult times and suffering with this Corona pandemic?
I'm not sure if I'll be able to answer this question in essence because this is really a very deep question and many of us might be having this question. But I would say that being the creator, being the supreme, being the parent, nobody would like to actually cause any sorrow or suffering to the children. Similarly, it applies to the creator, to the supreme being. So it is not that God is not doing anything or God did something, but actually, God is someone, supreme being is someone who makes us aware of our inner self. Who am I and what I am? And when I forget that and perform the actions in body consciousness, individually and collectively, that gives rise to many issues because then we are away from our original qualities and we perform actions being under the influence of such negative emotions. And not only that, there is another element that is called nature. It's not just the human beings, but also the nature. The nature also has been in that level now where so much has already been taken from the nature and that strength is no more remaining in that. So it is a very collective result that this pandemic has happened. It's not just that we see that it is problem for everyone. In fact, it is there are many things which are evolving during this pandemic as well. So when it comes to the role of God, the supreme being, the creator, and we understand that he is the source, the ocean, and the source of all powers and virtues and knowledge. And hence, when we connect to that supreme, we'll be able to get that guidance, the guiding light from that creator of what I can do to solve the situations around me.
Thank you so much,
Thank you.
Didi ji,
Thank you.
and thank you so much for upgrading us with your wonderful words of wisdom. And let's wind up the program because we are running short of time. And before winding, we have a couple of announcements. Next week, we have a very wonderful topic, and the topic is loving performance management. Loving performance management by Shailene Bhai from London, and he works as a teacher of public policy and management at the University of Birmingham. So, and one more announcement. Please don't forget to subscribe our YouTube channel, and you can share your comments, and you can like, and you can share the link with your family and friends members also. And if you want to upgrade yourself, or you want to know the upcoming events, for that you have to register yourself on our newsletter, and the ID, we can say, The website is shantisarovar.org, so you can register yourself on that. And one more interesting thing, just now brother asked, because of pandemic a lot of people left their body. So for that we have a wonderful program is going on parallelly. Actually it was started at 6:30 and it's on Awakening TV YouTube channel, so you can join there and you can log in there on the YouTube channel Awakening TV. And the program is Blessings for the Final Goodbye, those who left their body. So this is a very beautiful program by Sister Shivani, Blessings for the Final Goodbye. So maybe you will get a lot of answers, or maybe uh, you can we can cooperate those who left their body and we can give good vibes to them. So please log into that program, or you can see on YouTube Awakening TV. So thank you so much everyone, and have a wonderful week ahead. Okay, Om Shanti, and thanks again Didi ji
Om
for such a
Shanti. Thank
wonderful
you.
session.
Thank you, sister.
Okay, Om Shanti to everyone. Shall we end the meeting?